I'm going to show you guys how to bleed brakes on one of these old Chevys. This is a 88 Chevy 1500C. This will work on a CK. I think that's about it. So what you've got is a rear wheel anti-lock brake system on this thing. It will give you some headaches if it starts acting up. You'll get codes flashing on your dashboard, which is what I've got right now, a code of 1313. So I've bled the brakes the old-fashioned way myself without, any luck. I don't have what I would call a really good brake pedal. So I did a little research and found out that there's a pin behind here that you have to press the whole time that you're bleeding the brakes, supposedly. And you can either have somebody sit here and push that in the whole time you're bleeding the brakes, or you can buy a little tool, which I will link to. I think I got mine off eBay or something, but anyway, it's a little tool that clamps on here and holds that down. The problem is there's two of these, and I'm assuming this tag here stands for front and the other one doesn't have a tag on it, but I'm assuming if it did, it would say R for rear. So what I'm going to do is install the tool on the rear part of this when I'm bleeding the rear brakes, and I'm going to move it to the front when I'm doing the front brakes. I don't know what else to do. Also, the last thing you get to bleed is right here at the master. So for that, supposedly you can't do it without help. So I don't know, because you got to press it hard or fast or something or other. We'll see. I'm gonna try to do the whole thing by myself. If I can't, then I'll enlist a helper. Let me show you what you need to accomplish this task. First thing you got to do is flip the breather upside down and get plenty of air in there. It's very important. Get you a soda pop, piece of cardboard to lay on, some line wrenches, because I know on this truck I believe there's two different sizes, because I've got some original equipment on here. I've also got some aftermarket wheel cylinders on there that have different size nipples on them. As far as the one-man brake bleeding system, you can go buy something or you can make it yourself. Just get you a Gatorade bottle, drill a hole in it, put a little breather hole in there beside that, stick your clear tubing in there, goes all the way to the bottom, and give yourself plenty of line to get to the wheel cylinder. I also opt to put a magnet on here so I can hang this up inside a wheel well. You're going to need a good bit of brake fluid. Make sure it's the correct type, DOT3 in this case. And here's that special tool. It is a J55856. That's a GM tool. And I just put a little clip on it, because when I get done, I clip all this stuff back together and hang it in one spot. So next time when I go to looking for it, it's all there together. Don't need a rag to clean yourself up. Alright, well, first thing we're going to do is install this little tool on that rear. I wish I knew what to call it, but I'll just show you. And I will not be able to do this on camera, but if you look right back there, you see the same little black cap that was on this side. I got to reach around under there, pull that black cap off, and install this way. This is the way it's installed in the front, basically. You slide that part all the way as far as it'll go, and there's a little nipple. You'll see a little depression right there on the tool. That little depression, once you turn this screw down, will push that valve in and hold it open. I got to do this. I got to do that to the rear one right now. Alright, I feel like it's installed correctly. I had to position it straight up and down just because there's so many things in the way of trying to install it any other way. It's crazy. I don't know if you can see any of that. You see the little dangling key thing back there, but that's it. Straight up and down. So let's do the rear brakes first. First thing I'm going to do is pop this open a little bit. Now that's a good idea if you haven't changed your fluid out in a while and bled your brakes. What I would recommend you do is go to the dollar store and get you a turkey baster. Lift this off and suck out all that fluid. If I had more, I'd probably do it, but this is only about 3 months old, honestly. This isn't very old. You can suck out all that fluid and then replace it with brand new fluid. That way any fluid you're introducing to the system when you're bleeding it is brand new stuff. It does deteriorate. I may take that out. Something looks funky about that. I may have to go to the store and get some more fluid. Try to stir up any of that loose material you have down there and get it, what's the word I'm looking for, suspended, so you can get it out of there. No need in leaving it in there. Alright, so that, there's a little screen down there you can look at. That'll do it. So you got about 1/3 of a quart of fluid there. Now we're going to replace it. Brake fluid is relatively clear and cheap. So this wouldn't be a bad idea to just do every now and then. You don't have to bleed your brakes when you get done doing this. You didn't introduce any air into the system as long as you didn't press the brake pedal. Now you're ready to bleed your brakes. Just cover it up so you don't get any trash in there. That ought to be sufficient. You don't have to take the tire and wheel off to perform this operation. It does make it a little easier to see though, so since we're trying to do a video, I'm going to pop a wheel off and show you what's up. If you'll look right here, you'll see a little rubber cap, maybe. If not, you'll see a little nipple right there. And figure out what size line wrench. These are line wrenches, they have a gap in them so they can go over a line. Alright, figure out what size line wrench is going to fit that. This feels like it could be a 10mm. And see if you can loosen it. Yep. All right. Now, what we're going to do, if I had a lot of brand new brake fluid, I would use it, but I don't. So I'm going to use this old fluid. I'm going to pour some of this old fluid in here, and all I really want to do is put about 1 inch in there so that the hose is submerged, the end of the hose is submerged in brake fluid. So when new brake fluid with air comes into this jug, I see no way that air can get introduced back into the hose. It's submerged under brake fluid. Alright, can't do it with the camera on, so Okay, that's all I really need. Now I'm going to take my magnet. Oh. Slap it on the firewall, or I'm sorry, slap it on the fender well, like that. Going to take the end of the hose, blow the spiders out of it, and stick it on the end of that nipple. Right there. Like so. Now I'm just going to crack that open a little bit. Not a whole lot. If this thing is open a 1/8 of a turn, you see there's pressure already coming out of it. So I'm going to try to set you guys up so you can see when I go press the brake pedal what's going on. I can see some contaminants coming into that fresh line already. I'm going to slowly push the brake pedal to the floor. Wait a second, let it up, wait a second, and push it back to the floor. Let me show you what I'm doing up front. Let's go check our fluid levels too. When you're by yourself, you got to make sure you do it all. You're doing the wheel job, the brake job, the monitoring, everything. We're good, okay? Don't let that run out of fluid or you will regret it. You'll have to start all over. Plus you'll have more air in the system. So all we're doing is taking the pedal all the way to the floor slowly. And I mean all the way. I'm burying it as hard as I can. Slowly let it up. Repeat. Slowly down. Bury it. Slowly up. Repeat. This will be the last time. This is about the 7th trip to the floor. Now we're going to go tighten that bleed screw off. Like that. Go check the fluid levels in the reservoir. Add some, just go ahead and add it. You don't want to run out. Go ahead and add it. Alright. Cover it back up. Alright, now I'm going to take my hose off, put the wheel back on, and move to the left rear. You start with the wheel furthest away from the master cylinder. It's going to be right rear, right front, left front. So we're going to do, we just did right rear, we'll do left rear. I'll move that little special tool from the rear part of the master cylinder to the front part right here. Then I'll do right front, left front, and then this one, and that'll be it. Just keep your fluids full the whole time. Now we're on the front side, checking the fluid level. It's good. I've got the special tool moved to the front valve. It's good and tight. Valve's fully depressed. Got the one-man brake bleeding contraption all hooked up. The bleeder valve is already cracked open. I've got fluid already coming into the hose. So let's give this thing 6 or 7 pumps slowly to the floor. Slowly let up. All the way to the floor and all the way up. Wait a second. Repeat. Do that 6 or 7 times. We're on the final wheel. I'm going to put a little brake fluid in it. A little bit. Keep this stuff away from paint, it'll eat it up. Just so you know. Alright, now, one thing I failed to mention is why I use a magnet. I use a magnet to keep the container high. That way, when fluid comes into this hose, it has to be pushed up. It travels up. So there's no way for air to get to the nipple. If you always have fluid in here pushing up, there's no way for air to suck back down. That's how the one-man process works. Alright, I mean, I am literally out of light. So, got all 4 wheel cylinders done. I came to the master cylinder. Left the tool, the special tool installed, found that an 8mm wrench will break this open. I used the closed end of the wrench to break the torque on it, and then use the open end once I put the hose on it to open and close it. I gave it about 3 pumps, and that one will move some fluid. So don't do more than 3 pumps, because now I've got to add fluid in the front reservoir. If there's a rear bleeder, there's supposed to be a rear bleeder. I don't see a rear bleeder, but there's supposed to be one. If there's a rear one, do it as well. If I find one later, you know, I'll do it. If one of you guys knows better than me and you've already found it, then chime in down below. But that's it. I'm going to try to find a headlight once I get all this stuff back together, and we'll clear the code. See my brake light? 2, 3, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 3. So that's the code. It actually doesn't have to be run. You can do it like this. Okay, in the case of this vehicle, the fuse I needed to pull to clear the code was stop. Down there at the bottom, just under the red wire. Stop. The code's clear, the light's on. It should be on because I got the key on. Leave it out for about 10 seconds. Put it back in. Lights out. Let's take it for a drive.